we are here on an emergency podcast because
Breaking news.
not necessarily unexpected. Michael Bidwill cleans house, moves on from Kliff Kingsbury and Steve Keim before their contract extensions even hit. This motherfucker could have just let them play out their last season in 2022, and he'd be about $4 million richer today. But that is not the case, and I will give it to Michael Bidwill. I mean, that's not an easy move to make when you did dip all that money into these two guys. And to move on from it, recognize your mistakes and move on. Keim, it seems like it's kind of swiped under the rug. He can kind of write that off as a medical reason. But for Cardinal fans, I think most of us are rejoicing. And now we'll be on our fourth head coach in 7 years, people. And as everyone, I think, saw Adam Schefter's tweet, we have yet to have a head coach for more than 6 seasons. And I just wanted to say one fact before we jump onto this. To make Cardinals fans, however you're feeling today, but to make, this is what reality is. Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, Pete Carroll, they all have more wins with their current teams than the Arizona Cardinals' winningest head coach in franchise history has. That would be Bruce Arians with 50. Kyle Shanahan's at like 52, 53. Sean McVay just had his first losing season. He's in the 60s in only his 6th season. And then Pete Carroll, he's been here fucking forever. So the reality of the situation is this is still a long road to hoe. But this is the foundation that Michael Bidwill needs to get right. Everyone.
Our coward in chief has finally done something. Gotta love it. I was very happy to hear the news. As soon as I found out, ding dong, witch is dead, playing on my phone for the next 3 minutes. I was fucking joyful, man. I did not like this regime. I am surprised we made this change, but I am very happy we made this change. Going in this morning, I saw that news, like, oh, they're going to be having a meeting, this and that, and I was like, oh my God, it's still going to happen. The fact that we haven't heard anything means it's going to keep on going. No. So I'm pleasantly surprised. I'm very happy. Jackie, what do you think?
Well, we had all kind of speculated, but we were very doubtful that this was going to be a thing because given what their extensions, Bidwill's track history of being cheap, we didn't expect in a million years. I could have seen Kliff being out before Keim, but the fact that both of them are out on the same day, it speaks volumes that, Bidwill is committed to some sort of change, but we don't know if it's going to be a significant change because it also has been reported that Vance Joseph has been in talks of maybe being the new head coach.
And I don't. This is going to sound like incredibly condescending. Maybe it's a Rooney Rule thing. I mean, that's always a possibility, right?
Yeah, of course. That's a dirty little, thing that owners can kind of dance around with, and we've seen it, every single year. But that's definitely the case. And right now, I don't know how you guys are feeling, but you guys want to kind of hit on the head coach spot, or do either of you, want Vance Joseph to be the head coach? Let's start there.
Fuck no.
Not.
I am completely done with anything that has to do with this entire coaching staff. I want fresh. I want new. I do not want Vance Joseph. I don't want anything to do with this goddamn staff.
Yeah, and starting today, right now, it looks like Sean Payton is leading in Vegas to currently have the best odds to be the next Cardinals head coach. And I'm sure if you look at the Denver Broncos odds, he's probably leading that as well. Is Sean Payton your guys' favorite, or is there somebody else that, kind of makes you guys a little bit more intrigued?
I mean, there's a couple names that I kind of fuck with. I mean, I know this isn't exactly everybody's first pick in regards to this, but D'Amico Ryans from the Niners. I mean, I if he can kickstart this defense, if he can get the full potential out of, say, Collins and Simmons, I mean, our defense could be really fucking clicking, especially since we're probably going to be picking Carter with that third pick. I would really like him. They went from Salah to him, and they haven't skipped a beat since. So I would like him if we can't get Peyton.
So, of course, Sean Payton's probably going to be candidate number one for me. Candidate number two would probably be Jim Harbaugh. And I know he's got like a track record for kind of being an asshole, but maybe we do need an asshole to come in here and kind of,
I
give
feel
him
like that'd be a fucking mess for chemistry. And his whole thing, I think, works in college because it's just like an entirely different atmosphere. I don't think it'll work with this locker room and this team. I will say though, I would pay to see a pay-per-view of him and Kyler.
Hey, well, wherever he's gone, though, and I do think it's probably a long shot with Jim Harbaugh, but he has made a quick turnaround, even in the NFL. He did it with the 49ers, and if you're going to come back, wouldn't you want to stick your old team? So I do think that's definitely a viable option on the wish list. Yeah.
Yeah, you catch more bees with honey, but then of course, you got Harbaugh, and then I would say D'Amico Ryans would be candidate number three. You catch, is that what the saying is? You catch more bees with honey?
I thought it was flies.
No, why the fuck would you catch flies with honey? It's bees.
I don't fucking know.
You catch more honeys being fly.
Nah, I don't know.
Jackie, what are you drinking on right now before we go on too much further?
I've got I love this beer. It's Golden Monkey Belgian style triple 9.5%er. I'm on my second tall can. I am rejoicing at the fact that we finally made a big change in this franchise. There's new things on the horizon.
Raise it up. I am gonna pop this Kona Brewing beer I have. There we go. Let it fly. Amen. I'll cheers to that, Jackie. Cheers. And whatever you're drinking, whatever water you're drinking, Will, here we go. All right. It is a good day. It is a beautiful day. What else can we say? That's the best way to start a Monday morning. I know it. I don't know about you guys. Did you guys have to work today? You have school? I know I couldn't fucking focus at work at all.
William?
I was on fucking message boards during class, and I definitely shouldn't have been. First day back.
I thought I was on meth.
No, first day back in classes, and I'm on fucking Cardinals message boards all day. Yeesh.
I will some cleaning.
Okay. Cleaning the baby or what? What's going on? How's she doing?
Oh, she's fantastic. Now she was asleep. I was cleaning my bathroom, and then I just happened to check my phone. It said something about Steve Keim, something with the head coach vacancy. I'm like, wait, what did I miss? And then I go back through my notifications, and Bleacher Report had it. Kliff has been fired, and I was not productive after that.
Did you pop a beer right away?
No, I didn't, but I had to make sure I had beer for this occasion.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm with both of you guys on. I'm okay not having Vance Joseph. I do not want to promote him to be the next Cardinals head coach, even though I do not want a rookie head coach here as well. We've seen it throughout the last handful of hires. Aside from Bruce Arians, it kind of seems like it takes a couple coaches a couple years to kind of adapt and evolve to who they are as a head coach. And I don't know if we have time here. I know people want to say this is a full rebuild, and I believe if you can next GM here, unlike Steve Keim, on the trenches, right? But in this first year, you're gonna have to patchwork that fucking offensive line. With four starters not coming back next year, or at least free agents. I don't mind bringing in guys 1-2 year deals who are vets, but you're going to have to start drafting and loading up on the offensive lines to give Kyler and this offense and this franchise the best chance to succeed. So on that note, it sounds like Arizona, Michael Bidwill has already requested a GM interview with 49ers Director of Pro Personnel, Rand Carthon. 49ers. Adam Schefter, fuck this tweet up. But yeah, so if we can get Rand Carthon and you guys want D'Amico Ryans, I'd rather take that than Vance Joseph. Is that the direct? Okay. And even though the Cardinals still don't have the personnel like the 49ers do, Vance's message, whatever that's going to be into the ear of Kyler Murray, it's going to be different than if you bring in a whole new, these guys from San Fran, right? What are they known for? Building up the trenches on both sides of the offensive line. That's why they've been so successful. Even when they have a down year or two, they're able to uptick it once again. So that is definitely an option right there. Is there anybody else that we brought in? I know we brought in the Titans.
I've actually got a list.
Okay,
yeah,
let's do it.
Monty Austin Fort, the director of player personnel from the Titans. His history: he's had 21 years of experience. This is his third year with the Titans as players personnel director. Prior to joining Tennessee, he spent 15 seasons with the Pats, serving as the director of college scouting from 2014 to 19, assistant director to college scouting 11 to 13, national scout 08-10, area scout, etc., etc. I don't know if I fuck with this guy, honestly.
No, and you know what I appreciate with Michael Bidwill, what he's doing. You have to catch a wide net, like he said in his interview today with the media. But you want to set a wide net, wide range, and you want to get opinions from other organizations who have been somewhat successful. And I know people were like, "Oh, we requested to interview the Bears director of personnel." But he was with the Eagles, I believe, right? He was a big part of building up the Eagles, and that's where I think his name came.
Yeah, he was their.
So it's not like it's just so it's not like it's just you're going after a fucking Bears guy right there. You're looking at a guy with history, and I can appreciate that. That's what you need to do. You need to go out there and get information from all sorts of directions. And maybe Michael Bidwill knows the right direction that he wants to go right now, but also maybe he doesn't. Maybe he wants to hear all this input, and maybe something's going to stick with him. You know, he does. He even admitted today he likes being hands on. So he's not a dumb guy. He knows personnel. He knows schemes. So you bring in as many guys as you can, and then if you get the feeling for the guy who's going to be right for the job, then hopefully he can pull the trigger on that. I just hope that we don't go through all of this, and then at the end of the day, it's Adrian Wilson and Quentin Harris, because Michael Bidwill does want to save a few bucks, and he does want to have his guys next to him still. I do believe that Michael Bidwill needs to bring in people who aren't yes men, guys who are going to come in here and contradict him. They're going to push Michael as much as Michael's going to push them, and I don't know how much that would happen with Adrian Wilson and Quentin Harris. You know, and it's hard to say because maybe those guys are super deserving. But now, when you're living under Steve Keim, yeah, what'd you say, Jackie?
But to your point there, like, yes, I feel like they are deserving. Even Vance Joseph, he has made do with the tools that he was given and has done a decent job. But we didn't have a top 5 defense. We didn't even have a top 10 defense for him to warrant a head coaching job. And I think at this point in time, we need a full-on reset. We need a just clean house, get some new faces in here, some fresh faces, bring in some new ideas, some new, thought process, a new mentality, and do a whole culture reset.
There is one person on Reddit who has alleged that our next coach will be Ryan Day of Ohio State. Supposedly, they've gotten stuff right before.
I want to know if that's the same motherfucker who predicted Kliff Kingsbury. Because remember, before we hired him, there's that person on Reddit who was coming out and basically predicted, like, the week before that it was Kliff Kingsbury for sure, no doubt about it, and it ended up being the case. Do you guys remember that?
I don't, but what does The Simpsons have to say about this? That's the only source I trust.
Before we go any further, I just want to give a shout out to J.J. Watt playing his final game. Had 2 sacks for us. And J.J. Watt finishes his career, his final season, tied for the 10th most sacks in a single season in Cardinal franchise history with 12 and a half. That's the most in a season since Chandler Jones in 2019. And a much-deserved round of applause by the San Francisco fans. I always talk shit about Niners fans, but that was classy. So I gotta tip my cap when it's due.
Absolutely, man. It was beautiful to see. You hate that we had to send him out with no ring, no playoffs, but I'm glad a generational talent even wanted to be here in the first place. And you kind of get it all in your feels because you wish we could have sent Larry out the same way. So I guess that kind of makes up for it. Like we didn't get to send Larry out because he didn't want that, but we got to do it for JJ.
Just sad.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. Yeah, let's see. See, it's tricky because this Ryan Day thing, it's like the person who claimed it has since deleted their post on what they I don't know. They've got like hella karma on here, so like I don't fucking know. Man.
I hope it's not another college coach, and I'd like to think that Bidwill kind of learned his lesson on that. And while Ryan Day is much more successful than Kliff Kingsbury, there's a learning curve to that. And I don't want to sit here for another 2 years with a rookie head coach in the NFL who's not answering questions like Kliff Kingsbury was not, asked to do as a Cardinals head coach. No, I want a guy in here who's got a little bit of credibility, who's got a little bit of, just not a pretty boy fucking, or he's got that, Uncle Bruce swag or that pretty boy fucking Kliff swag. I want a guy in here who's going to come in. Yeah, I want a guy who's going to come in here and, demand respect. And, if you look at all the successful teams right now, it seems like in the NFL, more than not, those guys are offensive-minded head coaches because it does boil down to, are you going to get the best out of your quarterback? And we've been saying it, since day one. If Kliff Kingsbury entering after his fourth year, Kyler Murray isn't, head and shoulders better than what he was 2 years ago, then he's got to go. You don't get 5 years. Yeah, you don't get 5 years to build this guy up. And we did see a dip with Kyler Murray this year. No matter how much of a homer you are, you have to admit that. Even though there were injuries and galore, you can't even comprehend. But we still to go from the best deep ball in the league to the worst deep ball in the league. It was striking. And a lot of QBs can elevate the players around them, and we just didn't see it to an extent that we needed to. So to have even a defensive guy come in here, and we think that he's going to demand Kyler's respect, I just don't see it right now. I think the most important thing, we do have pieces on defense, but the most important thing has to be getting Kyler right. And if you're going to bring in an OC, who's going to be an OC that's going to demand that presence and who's going to force Kyler to push him as hard as Kyler's ever been pushed before? I just don't see it happening with a rookie head coach. Otherwise, there's a good chance we're going to be in the same position where we are. Every other, handful of years, we are here. In the Cardinals' 43 or 104 3-year existence up to this point, there have been 42 coaches. That equates to less than 2.5 years a coach. Okay? That's just not, you just cannot win that way. And you cannot, in 2 or 3 years, be sitting here saying, okay, well, this guy didn't get right with Kyler. We got to move on him, for a new head coach. Whoever comes in here has to be the right man for the job. And I'm fine not rushing the head coach right now. The general manager, yeah, you're going to have to make a decision here soon enough because what the draft is going to be approaching quickly and free agency. So that part I do believe will get addressed before the head coach. But it seems like every year we're sitting here saying this is, the most crucial offseason in, Suns history, Cardinals history, whatever the fucking case it be. And, it seems like here we are. It's a rotating cycle. And this is on Michael Bidwill. He invested a lot of money into Keim and Bidwill, and he ate that money. So now it's his turn to not just promote Vance Joseph as a fucking stopgap, because every Cardinal coach here has been a stopgap. We've never had one guy for over 6 seasons. I've been a lifelong Cardinal fan, just like all of you guys. And it's hard. It's to sit here and just pisses me off, man. I just want to be able to have something sustained and be a proud fucking Cardinal fan, be a proud AZ sports fan, man. It's
Preach,
just
man. Or at least establish a fucking culture, man. That's what I feel like is what's really been lacking for how many years. We have no fucking culture here. No
no,
camaraderie, no nothing. Like you look at even the teams that miss the goddamn playoffs. Look at the Lions. Like Dan Campbell is a guy I would run through a brick
no.
wall for. Like he's established such a beautiful culture there. And
I
even though
suck
they
is
miss
it.
playoffs,
Hey, yo,
right?
College things.
college teams.
Sorry.
Yeah, man, it's just frustrating. We have no culture, no nothing, and it even boils down to the fans. Like we've been notoriously known for having the most bandwagon fans in the NFL.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I
I
just
was
want to build
listening.
on
I
something.
was listening to the fucking radio today, and it was like, "Oh yeah, playoff moments sponsored by whoever," and it just talked about our loss in the Super Bowl. Like, god damn, is it? It's just so fucking barren, dude.
And to your point, Jackie, about culture and leadership, the Cardinals do have a lot of leaders. We've seen the one thing that I believe that I took away from a leadership standpoint from Hard Knocks is Kelvin Beachum is kind of that leader, that anchor on the offense. He's the one offensive player who's played every game this year as well. Your best ability is availability. So for him to be there, I believe, with J.J. Watt, Buda Baker, that defensive side of the ball, you have that leadership. And I always say, it comes down to your quarterback having that. But we saw this year, you know, out the gates, multiple coaches getting fired. From the top down, it has just been a shit show. And no matter how
Ugly.
good your leadership is on the field, it starts at the top of an organization, just like any place we've all ever worked. It doesn't matter your employees next to you. You guys can be good employees, but if there isn't that status quo from the top down, like you said, Jackie, they're going to run amok. They're not going to have a culture. So if you're going to have a head coach who you are protecting from the media for not doing media availabilities, that's just never gonna fucking work. Because you're stepping on his toes above him when he is the leader of men on a football squad. And then that just trickles down throughout the organization. Steve Keim, if he's the leader right there, you let him have a DUI, let him go through a decade of having one playoff victory, Michael Bidwill, and you sit here and you want to say it's medical reasons he's leaving? Bullshit.
Get the fuck
No.
out of here.
Oh, and it starts with Michael Bidwill taking accountability on not just running another motherfucker through the turnstile here. It's him actually taking accountability and bringing the right guy at general manager. That is where it's going to start. It starts right there and it trickles down. Because I don't care if you have Sean Payton, Vince fucking Lombardi, Bill Parcells, whoever the fuck you got. If you don't have that right GM to put the fucking the foundational blocks down, and you're setting the standard for everybody else, and you have a season like we have experienced this year. And I'm sick of it. I wasn't expecting to come on here and have a rant or anything, but to be honest, I've been working all day. I don't help my nephew move a little bit, so I don't have names down for a GM right now or a head coach. The next time we jump on here, I promise I will. I'll do some research, but this is just an emergency pod. And all last night, I feel like everyone was like, "Oh, number 3 pick, here we go." In my head, it's like, how is Bidwill gonna fuck this up one way or another, man? But to hear him talk in his interview, he sounded like a guy who a little bit different than what I've heard in the past. So I'm hoping, his wallet was hit hard today. That's fucking 35, 40 million between those guys that you eat before the contract extension even kicked into effect. So that just shows you right there, how fucking stupid it was to jump the gun on these guys' final years to give them that fucking deal. And it has to humble you a little bit. So I'm hoping that humbleness will now show through his, his patience through this hiring process with both of these GM and head coaches, but it's really the GM that he needs to hit. Otherwise, I don't know if anybody here has a chance. So we're going to be in the same spot with another head coach in, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, definitely not 7 years. So that's really all I gotta say.
Same as it ever was. I if Vance Joseph is our guy, I'm not watching next year. I don't want to be a part of
No.
this. If that's
We'll
I
see.
was able to tune this team out relatively easy this year. I've got college going on. I've got stuff going on. And I can just as easily do that next year if Vance is our head coach.
Yep. I concur 100% because I feel like we as fans deserve a lot better than what Michael Bidwill is providing us. And I think it's bullshit. And I think at this point, like, if you're not going to be serious about really going all in on building a winning culture here or there in Arizona, just trade anybody that's worth the fuck. You know, the players do not deserve the bullshit that you are putting out.
Yeah, and then it puts us in a situation where, let's say, DeAndre Hopkins does request a trade. I don't blame him if he does,
No.
even though he is, listen,
Even if Kyler Murray wants a trade, I don't fucking blame him.
and it's sad. And you know what? Me, as a foolish motherfucker I am, I'm still gonna watch. I'm still gonna pay attention. But the one thing I will not do if Vance Joseph is the coach next season, I will not drop a dime on merchandise. I will not spend one penny on this fucking franchise, no matter
Even if
what
they
it
get New
is.
Jersey.
Huh?
Even if they get New Jerseys.
Oh, fuck that. Who am I gonna get a jersey of? Buddha's probably the safest person here.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't
He
feel
deserves
comfortable getting a
better.
jersey of anybody else on this team. I have a Kyler jersey. If it was New Jersey, it would be Buddha. Other than that, I probably wouldn't spend a dime on the New Jerseys. And if that's the case, if this is his idea right now, you bring in Vance Joseph stopgap, let's call it. But then we're going to reveal jerseys, because sure, season ticket holders might dip out for a year or whatnot. But those jersey sales, we're going to sell those new jerseys, and that's going to make up for it. If that's his line of thought, shame on Michael fucking Bidwill. Because he did say that the jerseys were in, effect. It takes a couple years to get going, supposedly. But he did mention something like a year ago, I believe, last offseason, that it was kind of rolling. So if that's his idea to save a penny with Vance Joseph and then bring in new merchandise, more gear, fuck you. Fuck you. I will tell everyone around me who I still get Christmas gifts. My fiance, my parents, do not get me fucking Cardinal shit. I'm sorry. Do not spend your money on that shit. Do not.
Nope.
I was at
I
the
would
same
take a
level with.
lifetime of never getting a new shit ever again for a winning culture, a winning coach, a winning GM. Fuck
This is.
that.
People might be like, "Oh, you're overreacting a little." This is exactly how I was with Robert Sarver. I won tickets to the fucking Suns game. Sarver was on the fucking team, it was 2015 or something. Won tickets to the Suns game. Fucking, they said it was lower level. I get it. It's like first row, second deck. I mean, fuck you. I'm not giving you. I'm not going to a fucking game now. Like, I'm not. Like, I went out of my way to not give Robert Sarver money. So yeah, you give me a fucking ticket, fucking, I'm not gonna spend beer there, fucking, I'm not even gonna fucking spend gas to go with this type of product you put on the field, so, or on the court. So yeah, that was a pretty good half hour though. I don't know how long you guys want to go, but if I don't know if this stream is going, if it's not, if it is, thank you guys. We appreciate you all. If not,
Bobby edit or
Bobble's probably just made his last tweet on Twitter, and we're gonna kill him off.
One sentiment.
I'm exhausted by this team, and frankly, I'm very happy that there's only even one game near me next year. I don't even know if I'm going to go or not.
So fuck it, but
Washington.
Yep.
That stadium's so awful that like.
Oh, fucking come through. We will go. I will be there. Anybody that wants to come to DC for the game, I will be there. Because, how often do I get to go to a Cardinals game while I live here in Virginia? But anyways, tits out, Kliff's out, and I'm shitting my pants for Sean Payton.
Sucking for Sean.
Yeah, and we'll definitely be jumping on again whenever stuff drops. A couple things. I know, Jackie, you're coming to Arizona, right, this week?
Yes, I will be in the 602 coming up on what's the day?
Hopefully there's no emergency pods while you're here so you can enjoy the vacation, but there will definitely be emergency pods popping up whenever stuff drops, so we appreciate you guys tuning in with us. I know it's been a whirlwind of a day, so I'm trying to gobble up as much Cardinals streams, videos, content that I can, so we appreciate all you guys who do the same, and hopefully you can pass it on. Hopefully you guys like the show, even though it was kind of thrown together real quick. Usually we go on Wednesdays, so this is the last second, kind of unprepared, but I think we got some good ranting at the very least.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's kind of a bummer, but that's just life as a Cardinals fan, I guess.
Yep, it's a wait and see approach. I'm not going to get too optimistic about the number 3 pick, and I'm going to start doing my research here too, folks. So we'll definitely be getting into the draft and everything as we get to it. But right now, this does feel like a little bit of a breath of fresh air. So being a Cardinal fan, for that all of you are, it's been a miserable year and a half at this point, almost season and a half. So it is nice to get a little bit of good news. Not that people get fired and everything is great news, but just to be able to get a little fresh breath of air into a Cardinal fan base that has lacked a lot of rejuvenation. It was good to see us all kind of get together, and it's going to be a long off season. We only have 28 free agents under contract, so we did see JJ or who was it? Rodney Hudson reduced his base salary from $8 million to $2 million. And if that's Adrian Wilson and Quentin Harris doing that, that's a shrewd move before he retires, and then we're left with that dead cap money. So you save a little bit of cap right there. So that is definitely what is going to happen probably very often this offseason. There's going to be a lot of contractual stuff that probably doesn't make sense to me, you guys, but we're going to help try to break it down as we go. There's a lot smarter people out there that do that stuff for a living that will start keeping an eye on and sharing the info as it comes down.
Yes.
So you guys about ready to close out?
Yes, I just want to also let the people at home know I am drunk.
Yeah!
Yeehaw!
Drunk as a fucking cowgirl in Spurs in El Paso.
Nope, I'm just drunk as a skunk.
All right, okay. Let's kick it out.
All right. This has been the final episode of the season for Redbird Redzone podcast. My name is Willie. You can find me on Twitter at LiveOnThatSwing.
My name is Jackie. You can find me on Twitter at J San Diego. That is 2 O's.
And I'm Mac. You can find me on Twitter at AZ Sports Fiend. That's FIEN.
Sucking toes, banging hoes. Let's go, baby.
Whoop whoop. And we are out.
Don't fuck it up, Bidwill.